We are looking forward to what should be a fantastic championship match between Arkansas State and Jacksonville State, both teams coming out of Conference USA. And when we take a look at both of these teams, we'll introduce you to this style of play, and it's called the Baker format, right? Best of 7 series. And when you break down how this Baker format goes, 5 bowlers per team. Each player bowls 5 frames, so 1 through 5, and then you repeat the order in route 2 each game. Shannon O'Keefe, in her first season in this upstart Jacksonville State program, 2-time national champion, coming over from McKendree in Division II, having great success, as this is a new program who has done great things already on the other side for Arkansas State. This is no stranger to the stage, and Justin Kostick, he has been to this stage now the 3rd time in 4 years he's taken the Red Wolves to the title match, coming up as finalists the last couple of tries back in 2021 and most recently in 2023.
And it was a hard-fought battle, too. I mean, you know, and again, this is the biggest stage. This is what they bowl all year for, so we'll see how it's going to come out, but I expect a great match.
Starting things off for Jacksonville State. And getting it going. Back the other way, Faith Welch for Arkansas State, both leaving that 10-pin.
And I like the way we're doing this format, where the left lane will throw the first shot, the bowler on the right will throw a shot, and then, you know, back and forth. I think it speeds play a little bit, but it keeps it moving along. I know everybody is big into their pre-shot routine, but it definitely, you know, it gives you, hey, I have to be ready. I have that time while that other opponent is throwing the shot. One thing you are going to see, and I don't want to jinx anybody, but both teams, very good spare shooters, especially Jack State. I am sure if we looked at percentages, they're probably very high on the radar in spare percentage.
Isabel Allen picked up her spare for Jacksonville State, back the other way, and the miss there from Stahl.
And what did I just say? I didn't want to jinx them, right? Mm-hmm. But she didn't look as if she lost her balance there just a little bit. Again, this pair has not been used, right? So I saw her look down at her shoe, so I think she lost her balance just a little bit, but just very unlike them.
And there's the All-American first-teamer just announced earlier this week, and that's who we featured in the Open, Rebecca Hagerman, the 3-time All-American for the Gamecocks.
Those are the breaks you need right there. Ball coming in very light. I was going to talk a little bit about this. I've seen these two teams bowl all season long, and I'm telling you, you don't get here without a few breaks. Arkansas State never really gave up the pocket their last few tournaments, but there were a few breaks here and there, the roll 2, and you're going to see it right here as well.
And I misspoke on the last bowler. That there is Rebecca Hagerman, who we featured in the Open, Division I Player of the Year.
And as I said, she was the 4th bowler, and she's bowling in a different position. So things change here.
Right. Rapidly, because how you traditionally do your lineups, sometimes they tend to change based on
how you're bowling.
Land conditions, the reaction and all. And the two-hander there, Maggie Toma, the sophomore, is able to ring in the strike.
And as we see how the lanes transition, we are going to talk a lot about the two-handers. Each team has a two-hander. Danielle not right now, not in the lineup right now for Jack State, but we are going to address that. She throws a very powerful ball.
Coming from the left side, getting the fortuitous fall is is Kayla Smith, the senior. Carly Van Dynen. Van Dynen from the state of Michigan and happy to be back in her home state.
You're going to see on this pattern as they're starting, they're trying to play further right, wait for the lanes to transition, although the lanes transition every shot. They're going to try to play further right so that the transition is very minimal. The ladies did not get very deep on this pattern during the matches, and this is the reason why. They started further right and then just inched their way into the track area.
Crystal Elliott, the newcomer, coming Brooklyn side. And 4 straight strikes going down for the Gamecocks. 3 in a row for Arkansas State. Brooklyn Buchanan on the approach. Lays it out. And leaves one standing.
Ball coming in just a little bit light, leaves the 8-pin. Most of the ladies will change to a spare ball, go straight, takes the lane pattern out of play.
While we have the opportunity, let's take a look at keys to the match. In your eyes, Hall of Famer, what do we see?
Arkansas State, they're going to get off to a good start. They said they were a little slow this weekend, and they're going to be quicker on making adjustments or substitutions. He felt that's where they failed last year. With Jack State, be patient. And we all have to row in the same direction. And I'm sure everybody's going, okay, this is not a boat race, right? But it's about everyone being on the same page and motivating you along the way.
Good start for both teams. Come back with us to Thunderbolt Lane. First-year program, Jacksonville State has a friend with them. The name is Babe. A former player actually gave it to them at the tournament, at a tournament earlier this year. They've taken it everywhere, so it's kind of been a nice little mascot. You saw the little shopping cart, so it holds tight to the rosin bags and all of the extra equipment. It's there for a purpose, and certainly the Gamecocks, along with always have superstition things that make them feel at home and most comfortable, and looking good there once more. So a 5-bagger now for the Gamecocks, back the other way as we start back to the one spot of each lineup. You're gonna stole,
and you're gonna see some different lines here. You're gonna see Isabel is playing a little more right to left. She likes to keep the ball straight and in line with what she wants to do. Where I think Arkansas State is going to migrate a little bit left, kind of open up the lane just a little bit earlier than Jack State will.
It was Miranda Patterson that got the strike party going, and they're leaving the 8-pin.
Light hit coming in. That was an odd hit, actually. 4-pin.
The 5th-year senior, Faith Welch, out of Savannah, Tennessee. All-America honorable mention earlier this week. And it's got some work to do there.
Coming in way light, leaving the 2-4-10. What you're going to see here, right there, we bowled on this, not we, but the team, PBA players were bowling. They bowled a team event. They said, the right-hander said the right lane was tighter overall. You needed to go a little bit straighter. Left lane hooked a little bit earlier. Arkansas State likes to use their ball speed to their advantage. I think she's throwing it just a little bit hard. So you can do 2 things. Slow down that ball speed just a little bit, or make that shift to the right. Because right now, Jack State seems like they have a little bit more of a steady look to the pocket.
Welch looks in. is able to get 2 out of 3. Arkansas State played earlier this morning to be in this championship game, championship match against Jacksonville State. Overman leaves a no-doubter again. The Gamecocks, who took down 10th-ranked Sam Houston in the first round Friday morning, then the 2-0 mega match win over Arkansas State. And then Baker play against the Red Wolves to take a sweep after that back and forth affair. Toma, again, the 2-4-10 split.
We're going to take a look at the oil pattern. We are on 43 feet with 28.75 milliliters of oil. That we're using 2 oils, fire and ice. Ice tends to have, it's going to hold up in the front part of the lane just a little bit. It's not going to force the ladies to migrate as quickly as we saw during the year. And you're seeing that right now. I believe with the 2-hander, Maggie's just a little bit deep. We don't have that defined spot where you can throw it to a spot right now. I think they need to make that shift to the right. Jack State is one of the best teams in the country to break down a pattern. You need to watch what they do. This pattern shouldn't break down very quickly. It should be small moves until probably that 3rd or 4th game.
And leading one standing, the 7-pin is Kayla Smith. Another look at it.
And I think that's the lone South Paul bowling right now. Each team does have a left-hander. She got a lot of play this week. Had a great reaction. Was very helpful in getting the team to this position.
And once more.
Great shot, keeping it way in front of her. Getting it only out to about 8. Comes in just a little high, leaves the 4-pin.
And the lefty picks up the spare. Right now, closing out frames effectively is Jacksonville State. Arkansas State left a few open already. Closing it out there, but you think about just the quick start that Jack State has gotten off to, something that Arkansas State wanted to do. But this is a group that is built to come back. This is a group that is resilient and can take the first blow.
They're resilient, but I've watched both these teams bowl all year long, and one of the things you don't want is you don't want Jack State to get too far ahead, because it's one of these things that I said all year long. You can't expect teams to bowl bad. You have to bowl bad. And you can't expect Jack State to bowl bad, nor Arkansas State. But when Jack State gets ahead, they don't press on the brake. They just keep giving it the gas. So they need to learn something from this. Again, they're going to switch lanes. That's going to be a different story as well. So you need to pay attention to what the other teams are doing, how they're playing the lanes and breaking it down.
The anchors doing what the anchors need to do. Crystal Elliott with the strike for Jack State. She's back up. Brooklyn Buchanan just now for A-State.
Now, this is something that I would do if I were down there right now. So if I were Justin, the game is over, right? So on that second shot, I'd even have her throw a different ball to see what they have, what the look is.
Just to get an idea to play, to see what you can play with and work with for the second game.
Absolutely. Or bring in somebody who might be a sub for another player. So you can use this for a couple of different reasons, and it should be used for a couple of different reasons, especially when the match is out.
Buchanan going back again. And that was one of the things that Justin Kostic talked to us about earlier, was the fact that lessons learned from previous national championship matches was the fact that, hey, maybe I need to make moves quicker and be confident and direct in that move or change if needed.
When you get to this point, it's, you know, you're talking 1 or 2 frames, most 3. You can't give that up when you're competing against teams that are number 1 and 2 in the country, right? So you have to be ahead of the curve. I think Jack State does that probably. They're probably the best at it. I think they're ahead of the moves. I think they have confidence in what they're doing, and that showed with their performance this year. Arkansas State starting out a little slow. They looked like they had a little bit of a better look to start, so we'll see what happens.
It's Jack State that grabs game 1 in this best-of-7 series. Some familiar faces in the house, some bowling royalty, right?
Absolutely. We have Hope Bramley, PWBA Rookie of the Year. And Jordan Richard, 2023 PWB Player of the Year. 1 was from Arkansas State, and Hope was from McKendree. And by the way, they throw it good, and I mean real good.
Speaking of McKendree, a number of transfers, 6 in total, coming over from the Division II program to start this program at Jacksonville State. So some teammates of Hope Bramley in the process, along with Crystal Elliott coming over from the powerhouse Nebraska.
And next year will be a total change because they lose 6 of the girls. So it's going to be an interesting changing of the guard a little bit. Now we see the swap of the lane. Arkansas State comes in just a little bit light. I do think that, again, Jack State playing a little bit straighter. Arkansas does like to give it just a little bit of room in the front part of the lane. I don't think that's there yet, but we will see if they make the adjustment.
Isabel Allen, one of those transfers we mentioned coming over from McKendree, and starts off game 2 with a strike.
And I love her game. I'm sorry, you know what? Because we missed her last shot on there. Ooh, see if she could slide it over. I think this pattern played right into her. She could stay right, look left, and just play her A game. And she was very powerful doing it.
Well, ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships begins on Thursday, April 18th at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN2. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Both programs searching for their first ever NCAA bowling championship. We mentioned already Arkansas State, national runners-up from a season ago, hoping the 3rd time is the charm for the Red Wolves.
Good shot, coming in just a little light, leaving that light shaker 8-pin. I still don't think they're far enough right. They like to use their ball speed, but right now the lane is telling them the ball's just not getting there.
Miranda Pattison, one of 3 first-team All-Americans for the Gamecocks. She's bowled well, number 5 in the nation in scoring, number 3 in PCPI. Faith Welch looking to pick up the spare, an area where you said Arkansas State will need to be on their A game in this championship match.
Absolutely. There is no give me here. You cannot give either one of these teams an opening. You know, again, we've seen why Jack State was so successful this year. I mean, they just step on the gas and they keep going. You cannot allow them to get a few frames ahead of you because they just never let up. And spares do fill frames, and that's usually what it comes down to.
Patterson closes the frame there. Well, I'll tell you this. If you are Arkansas State, you're understanding, hey, we have met this team several times before. Conference USA, some of the top teams in all of the country. They were able to win a few events this season, taking down Jack State a couple of times in the process.
Great shot by Maggie Toma, our two-hander, the future of women's bowling. We're seeing more two-handers. What power. Look at the stability at the line, though. She really, in 1 year, I'm telling you, she had a little bit of upper body movement last year. This year, she's so much more stable at the line, creating even more power.
This one coming in just a little bit light for Hagerman.
So the characteristics of the pair are showing through. This right lane definitely seems to be tighter from front to back. Even when they get the ball just a little bit right to that 4-5 area, it's just not quite getting there. A couple of things they can do. Again, ball speed, slow it up just a little bit, or make that move to the right. This pattern, for being 43 feet, they did start way further right than I would have thought they would have. But again, that's why they're on TV, and I am not.
Now, when you say that, let's be mindful of the fact that we've said Hall of Famer. We know from your decorated and great career that folks should listen in to what you have to say in terms of the adjustments that have to be made. And obviously, coaches are right there and understand and feel and know their team and when to make moves, and big moves right there in the pocket for Carly Van Dynen.
Great shot. You could see doesn't give that ball much area, keeps it in front of her. Again, you're looking at two teams in the country that have very high rev rates. One is a little more speed dominant than the other, but adjustments were made throughout the year. They've been very successful.
And Kayla Smith striking out. You hear that oftentimes, rev rate. And for the audience at home that says, okay, well, I'm just tuning in, what exactly is rev rate? How would you describe it?
Well, I always say your rev rate has to match your ball speed. So everybody can have the highest rev rate they want, but if your ball speed doesn't match, it's not going to be very, very productive. And it's also about their axis rotation off their hand. You know, how they get it off their hand, how they get around it. You know, the two-handers, because they don't have a thumb in the ball, you know, you don't have to get the thumb out of it. It's already out of it. Are able to create such a higher rev rate because they don't have that in the ball, and it's so much cleaner. I mean, that's just what I tell everyone. They go, well, I don't understand why I can't increase my rev rate. You've got to get your thumb out fast enough to be able to increase it, because the longer you keep your thumb and your fingers in together, the more you decrease your rev rate.
Brooklyn Buchanan out of the state of Washington, the same as her head coach, leaving the 10 pin, where she was terrific this morning in traditional play.
Just look at them at the line. I mean, every single one of these bowlers has first of all, such good fundamentals. I mean, they're just so strong at the line.
And when you look at each of the approaches, you know, sometimes when you talk about those fundamentals, speak to the posture that you're seeing, because sometimes it's not something that gets talked about enough in terms of, you know, how important it is to when you approach the line.
Exactly, and that's one thing that Shannon said. Sometimes they work with their girls on their posture at the line, because if they get too far over, it makes for inconsistent shot making.
Pretty consistent and pretty even here through the first 5 frames of game 2. Come back. Arkansas State, located in Jonesboro, Arkansas. The Red Wolves, 3-time NCAA bowling championship finalists. How about the school? Founded in 1909, better than 14,000, close to 15,000 enrolled. And when we were coming on, we were surprised about just the size of the university and just how it's continued to grow over the years.
Ball just not making it up to the pocket. She kept that ball in front of her about 9-10. Again, when you're watching, and I know it's hard to do because you're in the moment, but you need to watch to see where is that ball actually exiting the pattern, and then figure out how to get there the most consistent way. I think she's got the best look on the lane right now. And honestly, Crystal Elliott moved further right, so she's following her lead, and that's why leadoff bowlers are so important. They give you the read on the lane as to what's going on.
And Stoll able to pick up the spare. And so how much do you, nice action there, how much do you play off of that just based on how you throw? How much are you watching your leadoff to set the tone and give you the story?
I believe every shot. Your leadoff ball is the one that kind of pumps you up and gets you going, gives you a read on the lane, especially if you're switching, right, in Baker, or you go to the next pair. It needs to be the person that's most consistent, hitting the pocket, giving you a feel as to, yeah, that was close enough, we need to make a move.
And gets it to flush through. That's Faith Welch.
Much better shot. Again, playing them very straight. I think that ball hit the 8 pin.
Patterson, great competitor. See what she's done tonight, 1 strike, and now she'll work on her 3rd spare of the night. Well, the 28th annual WNBA draft is Monday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN and the app. The Indiana Fever have the top pick, are expected to select Caitlin Clark. LA Sparks have the 2nd and 4th picks, and then the Chicago Sky have the 3rd pick. Cameron Brink, Camila Cardoso, Rakia Jackson, all in the mix, along with Angel Reese. They're all expected to go early. Boy, coming off of a fantastic NCAA basketball championship for the women's tournament, and so much excitement. And Patterson with her 3rd spare conversion of the night. Toma as her head coach, Justin Kostick, looking on. And the two-hander delivering again.
So right there, Maggie is definitely a little deeper. She needs to be. She's two-handed. But what you need to watch off of this is, where is her ball getting to and reading that pattern to hit the pocket? Yes, she's going to have higher rev rate. I get it. But it doesn't matter. One of the things everybody has to realize is you can watch other bowlers. You just need to make the moves and incorporate it into your game. Definitely a much closer match this game.
Just a 1-pin advantage for Jacksonville State as of now. Hagerman, who leads the nation in several statistical categories, needing to pick up this 4. And is able to do so. Conference USA Bowler of the Year coming out of Loves Park, Illinois. And taking a look at the max score right now, Arkansas State finds themselves in the lead position. Carly Van Dynen, who has just been a terrific athlete and a terrific ball out of the hands of the sophomore.
Great shot. to set up, I believe we're going into the 9th frame or 10th frame. I'm going to be going into the 10th frame. Put the pressure on Jacksonville. I'm not used to calling them Jacksonville.
You like Jack State, you stick with Jack State. It's all good. They go Jacksonville State, Jack State, either one.
That ball coming in half pocket. She is using urethane to try and stay as far left as possible. Not quite getting up the hill, as I'd like to say. When the teams bowled on this pair, the left-handers actually had the lanes opposite the right-handers. So they had the left lane a little tighter. The right lane hooked more for them.
Smith does the job, but right now, Arkansas State can try to close it out here with the comparison of both anchors tonight, Brooklyn Buchanan and Crystal Elliott. Here's Buchanan. And leaves that 10-pin hanging.
Great shot. Looked like it was just like Maggie's, down around the 9 board, down lane. The tracers are the best because you can read where the ball actually gets to. Comes in just a little half pocket, leaves the 10-pin.
So Crystal Elliott, the anchor bowler, needs 3 strikes in a row in order for Jacksonville State to try to pull it out in game 2. On the first roll, she gets what she needs.
I believe Crystal could have one of the best releases in collegiate bowling. She has such a soft hand, very rarely grabs it.
And the conversion there for Buchanan. Well, Elliott, who won a national championship back in 2021 with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, was the most outstanding player of that national championship. Spends her final season as a Jacksonville State Gamecock, Conference USA Newcomer of the Year, and just a bowler who has such a bright future, and she will look to go on to the Pro Tour. Good release once more, but leaves it a pin short.
Got that one out on the lane just a little bit, but look, oh, got out just a little bit right. Ring 10, great shot. You cannot expect them not to hit the pocket.
She would have needed 2 pins in order to close this out for Arkansas State. Buchanan secures it for game 2 for the Red Wolves. So this is going to be even up. This is the duking, the duel, the head-to-head that we were expecting to see between both teams.
We said it wasn't going to be a 4-0.
Anything but. I'm feeling this could go all the way.
Absolutely.
To the final game as Arkansas State roars back, takes game 2, 211 to 204, as the Red Wolves fans, they're feeling it, getting behind their squad. Game 3 coming up when we return. Team come back and even things up at 1 apiece. How about a wonderful year it's been for women's sports in a time right now where everything is just on the rise. We mentioned briefly the women's basketball national championship, highest rated basketball game in 5 years, better than 18 million viewers, world record set for Nebraska volleyball. You've got pro hockey, NWSL. I mean, right now the shift is happening, Carolyn.
Unbelievable. It's just craziness how much we've surged with women's sports, and the crowds are gravitating towards it. So that's good for us in bowling.
Well, the sport continues to rise. I mean, you think about a program like Jacksonville State, who says at the beginning of last year, we want to start a program. Hires a pro bowler coach and one of the greats in Shannon O'Keefe and her husband Brian, and now they find themselves here in a championship.
You can't ask for anything better. I mean, it is just, what they bring to the table, and what a lot of these coaches that are coaching other programs that also compete on tour, it's just unbelievable what they bring to the table with knowledge, not only on the lanes, but as well as off the lanes.
Helping to continue to build continues. That's what Justin Kostick has done for A-State. He's taken care of that spare. Is Stoll to lead it off here in game 3. Miranda Pattison, graduate transfer coming over from McKendree. One of those 6. Great ball from Pattison.
Miranda is one of my favorite bowlers. I think she's just steady Eddie. I mean, always in the pocket. She doesn't try to do anything funky. In other words, she's always able to play her A game a lot. And that comes just from being so consistent and having faith in her game. And I think she's an absolutely great lane read.
And speaking of Faith Welch, the veteran leader for A-State, picks up 9 in her first roll. We'll check it out. The United Football League Week 3 doubleheader kicks off on ABC ESPN at noon, or ESPN Plus rather, with the Roughnecks and the Panthers from Detroit, followed by the Battlehawks and Brahmas from San Antonio at 3. We speak to the veteran leadership of fifth-year senior Faith Welch. Think about this. In the Rochester Regional, 5 teams, the national runners-up, avenged their loss to defending champion Vanderbilt in that regional round, pushing them out of the tournament as one of the 4 teams left standing. Nice run that A-State has had as Jacksonville State getting off to a good start. Hagerman, second strike in a row for the Gamecocks.
I would think both teams at this point settling down just a little bit. They're seeing the differences in both lanes and making the adjustments just a little bit quicker.
Yes, got the nice little kick there at the end.
Honestly, when she got to the line, I thought, ooh, she looks even deeper than she did when she was first over here. So gets it way out there. Look at that, out to about 6. Oh my goodness. Comes back and just blows the rack.
I so love the celebration and the intensity in the eyes of the bowlers. Obviously, this is competition, but you want it to be fun, and it's fun when you can knock all the 10 pins down. Kayla Smith doing her thing.
I wasn't sure what Brian might do. Left-hander, only bowler on that side, coming in a little light. Looks like she made that move to the left. Great shot.
Dinan, who's She's known to throw a big strike ball with the thumb and does so.
Arkansas State is not afraid of the pressure. Right here, playing them pretty direct. Actually, more direct than Arkansas State likes to play them. Doing the right thing and getting the reaction they needed.
Wide roll from Elliott. Bustles through. And you notice the approach that she has as well. It's one of patience. She takes her time on the approach, but that's something that Shannon O'Keefe has talked about. Patience is going to be important for us and a key for tonight.
Yes, and the one thing I love about Crystal's game, boy, her hand is underneath it. Very end over end, not waiting for her ball to hook a lot, just read the pattern, nice and smooth. She does it so naturally. It's just great to watch.
We talked a little bit about Brooklyn Buchanan and, again, the job that she did earlier today. Slow start for the Red Wolves in the traditional match, but closed strong in Baker play. Won 3-1 versus the 3-seed Youngstown State to advance to the championship match. And it was because of her 217 in traditional play, along with the freshman Malaya Chavez, who helped to lift the Red Wolves in that charge. Conversion there for Brooklyn Buchanan, and right now it's an 11-pin advantage for Jack State. Welcome back to the 2024 NCAA Bowling Championship from Allen Park, Michigan. The Hall of Famer Carolyn Doran-Ballard, Tiffany Green here with you. Both teams seeking their first ever bowling championship, the inaugural season for the Gamecocks. Jacksonville State, located in Jacksonville, Alabama, founded in 1883, close to 10,000 students with the university. Isabel Allen, originally from England, an integrated studies major, kicks into the action back from the break with that wonderful roll.
I think she's only left 9 on her first shot. I think she struck, right? Or she had 9 spare, right? Yeah. Oh, she had an open. Oh, the 2, 4, 8, 10. Because every time I look at her, she's striking.
Stoll, second team All-American, honorable mention last year. And when we talked with Coach Kostick, obviously feeling very confident in this group, all who returned from last year, he talked about just the way this fifth-year senior has shined in TV moments in the past 2 national championship appearances.
I think the key to Arkansas State's success was after the few events where they did not perform the way they wanted to, they kind of settled back. We talked about how he got the affirmations together for the girls. They read them once a day. You know, it's not like beating into your head, but reading them once a day just to know, hey, we belong, we have a common goal, things like that. I think pulling them together and reaffirming that, hey, yeah, okay, things didn't go that great the last couple of tournaments, but as a whole, things have been fantastic, and we're going to be bowling strong teams, so we've got to get it together, and they have.
Well, you think about just what Arkansas State has done. I mean, throughout their schedule in the season, they're being tested all the way through. Stephen F. Austin, a very good program. Vanderbilt, Jacksonville State, we mentioned, among many others along the way.
So I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
I like to make predictions.
Here we go.
It's okay if they're wrong. You know, it's just a guess. I think whoever conquers this right lane is going to excel. That's just me. because the shot making on the right lane, if you're just that little, little bit with the ball speed, it shoots right through the spot, leaves the bucket. If you get a little bit too far right, it just barely hits the headpin. It's more about the shot making and just being patient on that right lane. The left lane seems to be a little more forgiving. So I think this right lane is going to be the one that's going to be the winner.
So needing a little bit more of the finesse, and that 4-pin spare from Welch. Would you say it as such in terms of just that small tweak of,
I think,
kind of finding that perfect place?
Right. I think they're close to the pocket. So now it's more about just the ball speed, or is it the wrong ball? I mean, you're 3 or 4 games in now. We got to see, do we like the motion? Do we not? Because really at this point, when you're in a championship match like this, your adrenaline is pumping. So you don't want to have to be perfect. You want to be able to kind of do your thing, relax just a little bit. So it could be a ball change as well.
Maggie Thomas trying to answer back because Jacksonville State has been near perfect in this game. All but one have been strikes.
And we can see this. Maggie gets this one way right. She's been keeping it out to about the 5-6 board. This one gets out to 2 and just never reads it. And we saw that this weekend. Once you got the ball way right, it never recovered. It was straighter angles to start, migrate into that 9, 10, 11, 12, and ball speed was crucial. Some teams opted for surface, some opted for ball speed.
Toma takes care of business. And this is what Kayla Smith has done tonight. Pair of strikes, a trio of spares, and has an opportunity with that 7-pin hanging to pick up her 4th of the night.
Another great shot, just wraps around that 7-pin, still using urethane. Controls the pocket very well.
Carly Van Dynen, who has just been so steady for this group. 5 strikes tonight for Ace State, coming from the fingertips of Carly Van Dynen. Smith, who was rock solid and earned tournament MVP last weekend, or a couple of weekends ago in Conference USA tournament, now puts her team in great position here with Jacksonville State in control. They've taken care of this match and it's done, but it's because it's, again, that consistency. You think about that row or that string of 7 strikes during this game. Help make that difference. And Elliott moves that one high.
Playing a little bit further left on this lane compared to the right lane, but just bounces off the end of that pattern. Using a ball that gets down the lane just a little bit further.
Buchanan played that one beautifully.
When I was talking to Brian O'Keefe about some equipment, it was different than Arkansas because then I, of course, went over and talked to Justin. So Justin, first, Arkansas State, opted to use stronger balls with some surface to try to play that pattern a little bit further right. Jack State went the opposite direction. They went with weaker balls, maybe just scuffed the surface a little bit with a 1500. So again, two different ways of looking at the lane based on how your bowlers feel, how are your bowlers throwing it, where do they feel most comfortable. So again, that's a good tip for everybody watching. It just because you read a number on a pattern and you read the numbers doesn't necessarily mean what you think is going to work will work. You got to fix it, and you just got to fix everything so that it matches your game.
Sleeper spare is what's left for Buchanan to try to pick up. Another look at it here. Good finish for Jacksonville State. They came back roaring in that one. Have to do leaves one remaining, and that brings us to the close of our third game. 244-207 advantage Jacksonville State. That 7-bagger in the midst of this one helped the Gamecocks take a 2-1 advantage here in the championship match. Jack State grooving right now, a 2-1 lead over Arkansas State after 3 games as we take a look at the NCAA First Team All-America list. And when you look at the number of Gamecocks there, 3 in total, they represented well in that, along with Paige Peters out of Vanderbilt. How about Lauren Tomaszewski out of North Carolina A&T, a program that is great always. Jay Cody from Youngstown State we saw here earlier, Sam Houston representative as well.
Right. And Lauren, they'll be on their way to the ITCs next week. Paige Peters, anchor down, baby, for our coach of the year here to the left, John Williamson, keeping score for us. So anchor down, we plan on coming back.
Kind enough to help us out here. Thrown into the fire, might we add, John Williamson, the head coach of Vanderbilt, to come in and take score and doing a masterful job.
Very, very obvious he doesn't want to be keeping score. He wants to be coaching down there, so I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Well, quick lineup change there from O'Keefe as Pattison starts off game 4.
She has been put into the leadoff position throughout the year. That is a ball change. That ball just takes off. Might be time now to start to move just a little bit left off that spot on the right lane. It seems like it's opening up just a little bit. I still predict that one as maybe the lane to be the winning lane, but you never know. As they break down and transition, anything can happen.
If you're just tuning in, both of these programs seeking their first ever bowling championship. 16 NCAA appearances for Arkansas State. First time ever. It's the first season for Jacksonville State. Both teams convert in the opening frame. And now we see Faith Welch stepping up for A-State. Already earned her psychology degree. Currently working on her doctorate of occupational therapy.
Another great shot coming in light on that left lane. Left lane obviously has just a little bit more hook to it. I think that might be a ball change for her as well. Comes in just like that. That is another, we've seen that twice tonight, that light 4-pin.
Is Allen barreling it through.
still playing very direct around that 5-6 area, going right to left. Not trying to get around it a lot. A couple of the girls are way underneath it, just a little more end over end, control down that back end until they get a feel for what they truly need to do on this right lane.
Coach takes care of the 4-pin. Adjustments that you've seen throughout from Arkansas State, anything that they have done or that they will need to do?
Pay attention to who has the best luck, where are they getting it to on the lane, and then incorporate that for each girl. Everyone is going to play them a little bit differently, right? But you can still use that break point as your guide. Maggie, obviously, two-handed, going to be a little further left, but you know now, 8-9 is where she got it to. Ball made it to the pocket. So use that as your guide and then incorporate that into your game, how each lady will get to that spot. It might be a ball change, it might be speed. I think speed was very important this week. I think the harder you threw it, the more it went through the spot on the lane. It went either too long to the right or it just had no hold to the left. When you rolled it more and the ball speed was maybe medium ball speed, read it just perfect. And again, didn't have to move in quickly. It was actually a slow transition.
And Toma picks up the spare. Hagerman, #1 in overall scoring average, and Baker's scoring as well. #1 player composite performance index at 95%. One of the top strike percentage rates as well, but also solid on the spare conversion tip. Carly Van Dynen grew up just 3 hours northwest of Detroit. And I'm telling you, since stepping foot on home soil, she's looked sharp.
Carly using a ball that gets down the lane, a little bit cleaner, but she's got a little surface on it. Just enough to get that light hit. And I got to tell you, I think the light hits are better right now than the
Great ball through the pocket for Kayla Smith, the southpaw, who's had a fantastic postseason run for the Gamecocks.
She's one of the reasons they're here. And they, both coaches mentioned, when they put her in, when they saw that there was a shot on the left where she could be consistent, she took out urethane, got right on top of it, and she executed her shots. She is a key why they are here right now.
Buchanan, who has helped to anchor this crew for A-State the last couple of years, and we're seeing why she's so strong.
You can see right here, Arkansas State is starting to make that move, migrate a little bit further in on this left lane. Again, it will be interesting to see what they do on the right lane because we have seen Jack State go high, go Brooklyn. So this right lane now is transitioning, trying to absolutely catch up to that left lane.
Elliott out of Palm Bay, Florida. They call her the Mayor. Well known by the around. Well, quick time to tell you that the NBA regular season wraps up tomorrow with all 30 teams playing. ESPN has 2 with playoff seeding implications. Jalen Brunson and the Knicks host DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls, followed by LeBron and the Lakers taking on Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans. Coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern. I love how the alley falls silent, and they're coached on that to make sure that the players can zone in, focus in, and after 5 frames here in the 4th, we'll step aside quickly. Back here at the 2024 NCAA Bowling Championship, it's anybody's game right now. It's Jacksonville State, who has a 2-1 lead currently over Arkansas State, in the top seed, sitting in the lead position here in Game 4. Miranda Patterson, the graduate transfer we mentioned, coming over from McKendree. Received a couple of All-America honors in her previous seasons with the Bearcats, helping them to win a pair of national titles in 4 seasons. And now she's trying to make history here with Jacksonville State in their inaugural season. Well, coming out strong back from the break, it's A-State by Emma Stoll. Now Patterson.
Made the move off her first shot, moved a little bit deeper, so now we're going to see them migrating in right here. Still getting it out to that 5-6, but giving it a little bit more right to left. Great shot, leaves the ring 10. And again, moved her to the lead-off position. She's now going to tell her teammates exactly what she did, like the shot, yes, not, what I did, what was the move, and now they can feed off that as they get up to make their shot.
We'll see what they take away as she's going to pass the information over to her teammates now that she's picked up the spare. This A-State team, number 2 overall in RPI. Welch leaves the sleeper spare. 87 and 27 overall for Arkansas State this season.
She didn't quite get around that one. She hasn't really been trying to overhook it, but she seemed like she mishit that one just a little bit. Got it in, leaves the 2-8.
Allen's going to have some work to do.
Just a bad shot. Doesn't look like she got out of that one very clean. Paid the full penalty. She'll go for the 3.
Welch is able to pick up the sleeper spare. You see the different ball being used, the spare ball for Welch. And now here with Jack State tatted on the ball. We'll see what Allen comes back with. Was able to get 4 out of 5. Nice little kick.
That was a great shot at it. Yeah, she almost made the Greek church. And right here you'll see just going over, going behind the 4-pin, taking out that 7-pin.
Just leaves it short. When you look at Toma and just the way that she approaches, you have said before that the two-handed bowler is going to take over and help to change the game for the women's side. Why do you say that?
Just because you're seeing more of them, and the ones you are seeing are so much more prepared than they were for the few that tried to start doing it a few years ago. They're way ahead of the game. And again, the men are doing it, so, you know, it was successful. More of them did it. So I think now the women who start earlier, especially overseas, it's very popular, and it's just catching on more and more over here. And they just can create so much more power. And when it hits the pins, it's just amazing. So I think you're going to see more of it. One of the things we need to do, though, is we need to know how to coach them. And coaching men and women are two totally different animals. We talked about that earlier. So I hope as we move forward in the sport of bowling, we become better at that.
From Van Dynen. All the way through, and a fist pump from her head coach, Justin Kostick. Beautiful ball.
I think she is one of the best setup bowlers there is in college bowling. She just has been rock solid all year. 6 consecutive strikes in a row. Proof.
Rock solid back the other way is Kayla Smith.
Kayla kicking back that 7-pin, and when you kick the 7-pin back like that, straight back, you're doing the right thing.
You were hoping for that strike if you were A-State to try to put the pressure on Jack State.
This is why she is anchor, rock solid at the line as always, right past that tracer. Look at this. Oh, she's just so smooth out of it. I love it. I think she's got a great game. Well, there's nobody on TV that doesn't have a good game. I mean, that was kind of a ridiculous thing. They're all very good.
How many All-Americans and all region and all conference honors have we mentioned here tonight? Among them, Crystal Elliott.
And the ones that aren't an All-American yet will be.
Needing a strike or spare to win it for Jacksonville State. Correction there, it's Jacksonville State who just cements off the further this game 4. Thank you for your patience at home. My math sometimes
we talked about math. We're both bad at math.
We're both pretty bad. I'm not the best.
Right here, gets to this ball in just a little bit, leaves the 4-9. But quick stat to our statistician over there. It is now 2-2. All the games have been won on the left lane. See? That right lane. That's a killer. Tiffany, you're learning more tonight here than you want to. Now, one thing with Crystal shot, the first one, perfect, high flush, right? Second one, didn't look terrible. Greek Church. To me, she's a shot maker. So to me, I would try a different ball on the shot. Or make a move.
Matters not for their spare conversion because Arkansas State is going to take this game, and you said, hey, look, make the change in the ball. Did you?
I don't believe so. But she may have moved on a lane. I'll tell you in a minute. She moved on the lane. She didn't shoot for the spare, so she made a move, learned something off of that so she can make the move once she gets back to the right lane.
A heavyweight fight happening in Allen Park, Michigan, as Arkansas State evens up the match at 2-all. A national championship is on the line, folks, and both of these teams are working hard to hoist the trophy. Sean Walker on your left in his second final. How about the elder statesman, Rick Barbera, standing in the middle, his 19th final, and then Stephen Padilla on the right in his 8th final. And folks, if you're just tuning in, you're tuning in to a fantastic championship match, the finals here between Arkansas State and Jacksonville State. These two teams trading blows back and forth. It was Arkansas State who took game 4, the switching of the lanes. And starting it off here is Isabel Allen of Tamworth, England. And Allen hits 9 on her first. So another switch back to Allen, and then Patterson out here. As a great start for Emma Stoll and A-State here in game 5.
Emma Stoll, I remember watching her bowl. Oh my, well, of course, she's still young. One of our Storm Youth Championship bowlers. And I saw her then and I went, oh my God, she's good. And she's even better now. But we have a lot of bowlers out here that have bowled a lot of youth events throughout the years, including Junior Gold. It's nice to see.
A member of England's national team is Isabel Allen.
Okay, so let's set up the scenario here, because just Coach John here to my left just loves talking about the finals. So both teams have won on the left lane. If Arkansas State wins on the right lane and then goes to the next game and wins on the left game, it's over. If they don't, Jacksonville, don't forget, has choice in the last game.
And you gotta believe, because they've all been rolling the ball so well on the left side, they're gonna try to pick that left lane.
I would think right now the left lane would definitely be their choice. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this match and where we go from there.
Faith Welch. He's bowled well overall, struggled the last couple of matches, but inserted back into the lineup for Justin Costa. There, that's what they want to see out of Faith Welch, because they know that's what the fifth-year senior can do.
You can see right there with that shot, everyone now has migrated just a little bit further left, trying to, because there was hold on this pattern. Once you made that move, you had a little hold to the left, you had a little bump to the right once that area opened up, and Arkansas State right now is trying to play that.
Hagerman leaves the 8th standing.
Another great shot by Jack State, and Rebecca coming in just a little light, leaving that stubborn 8-pin.
Great ball. You saw that nice little late break action there from Toma, and then boom.
It's just unbelievable. Maggie has come such a long way. Look at that. Her foot gets out in front of her just a little bit, which is perfect for her. And then she just gets through it. Tons of leverage. So much more than last year. You know, freshman, you're raw, you know, you're learning. Wow. Wow, the difference a year makes.
Right.
And again, I think you're going to see that out of Danielle from Jack State next year.
The players who has such a promising future. The senior Kayla Smith talked about the importance of her in this run to the national championship, playing really tight there on the outside, skirting the line and getting the strike.
I knew she was going to move left and get on top of it, but wow, watch this shot. She gets that one left almost. I mean, that hit the one board. Urethane, nice and even off the break point. High flush. That's why she's in the lineup right there.
And enough standing in the 10 pin for Carly Van Dynen, who has just been so consistent and solid tonight.
Laid down just a little bit deeper, still getting it out to that 9-10 board, comes in just half pocket, leaving the 10.
How big of an adjustment is it for these players to kind of adapt to, you know, you're used to a double elimination type of scenario here. This is win or go home. This is it. What type of mental adjustments do you have to make when you play on television?
Well, you know, it's more of a do or die situation, you know, that we can't give away frames. We know we're bowling a great team. So I do think you're right. I think it is a little more of the mental prep. I also think they need to come out just a little more prepared. And that means with the physical game as well. Be sure of your, you know, of your feel, of your adjustments, where are you playing, and be confident with that, because you can't give up any frames, especially when you only have so many games, so many frames. In other formats throughout the year, you do. It's double elimination, or, you know, you have a traditional and then the 5-game total, or vice versa. So there's a lot of other options in which you can win and take it to a tie break.
Shannon O'Keefe has talked about just the notion of these players executing to help build the energy and kind of start a bonfire, if you will, for success on the lanes. Buchanan, count it, fired up afterward.
This right lane right now is playing to Arkansas's advantage as they're hitting it at this time. They like to move left, as well as Jack State, but they seem to make the move quicker, which is something Justin talked about, because it did cost them the match last year. It did, without a doubt. And they were prepared for this.
Taking care of business and picking up the spare. But Arkansas State is roaring here in Game 5. With Carolyn Doran-Ballard back here with you for the 2024 NCAA Bowling Championships. And thus far, has it lived up to the billing? Obviously, everyone is in the stands waiting to see who will take the lead here after Game 5. Carolyn, this is exactly what we're looking for.
Absolutely. I think this is a great championship match, because you know that both teams are going to make the moves on the lane, right? There's a lot of communication going on right there. There's a lot of strategy right now. And again, chatting back here, I mean, think about this. So let's say Arkansas State wins on this lane, right? But if Jack State wins and they still have choice, it's not as if Arkansas didn't bowl well on the right lane. So what do you do? I mean, there's a lot of good scenarios.
Yes, there are.
And you know what? I'm sitting in the booth, and I hope it goes down to 10th frame, and I hope they have to make the decision, because I'm comfortable back here.
Let's buckle up. Folks at home, we hope you're doing the same. Get your popcorn ready, kick back a little bit further in that recliner. All right, now things are starting to heat up, coming back from break. And it's getting good here, folks.
I liked moving Miranda up in that lineup. She's a great leadoff bowler. And again, when your anchor bowler is a striker, your leadoff bowler backs that up with the double. Perfect.
Right in there. Okay. It's strike versus strike right now. 3 consecutive for Arkansas State, who has a 29-pin advantage. Rebecca Hagerman. leaves a little work for herself.
It's just a little left, leaving the 3-6-10.
Another just rolling downhill right now and picking up steam are the Red Wolves.
They know that they need to stay on the gas pedal because they're bowling one of the best teams in the nation. If the obviously ranked #1, they're just not ranked #1 for the heck of it. So they have to take full advantage of this lane that has been the trouble lane for both teams.
And right now they're doing so. These two teams have been 1 and 2 nationally for most of the season. Coming out of Conference USA, it was Jack State who won the inaugural conference tournament. And an important spare there from Hagerman, the National Bowler of the Year. Well, Justin Kostick has seen his team and understood what it's taken to get to this point. Remember, they had a 3-1 advantage against Vanderbilt last year before falling to the Commodores. And so trying to get that lead and close things out is what is of great importance this year, as Kayla Smith, we've talked about just what she's meant to this Gamecocks team, coming up with a big strike.
You never count any of the teams out, especially in that match last year. Again, 3-1. You can't count anybody out. The lanes change, nerves set in. You know, you make a good adjustment, you make a bad adjustment, everything adds up. And that's why we're in this position. Again, that's when you have to rely on that team chemistry to tell you what's going on, as well as feeding it back to the coach.
And not afraid of this moment. I mean, really, both of these teams have championship-level experiences, have won a national championship like Crystal Elliott did so back at Nebraska, a number of others for McKendree on that Jacksonville State team. So they know what it's like to be in these moments, but Arkansas State can say the same.
Crystal's spare percentage just a little higher.
When you think about how Arkansas State has won now back-to-back games, and the idea that this group is poised to try to bring home their first ever title, they just seem to feel like a little extra confidence that's been added to the Red Wolves.
I think they made the move quicker on this right lane, which they love to do. I also liked, honestly, what Shannon said in her interview, and I'm going to kind of use it for the other team, is you rise to your training, not necessarily the occasion. They all know how to bowl. They all know how to bowl. They all know what they're supposed to do. And it's those moments, you know, you're not just talking about that one moment in that pressure situation. It's, I got to go back to what I know and what I can do and just do it.
And that's what Arkansas State has done here.
I think this is a big win. I'm not saying that I don't think Jack State can get lined up on the right lane. That is not what I'm saying at all, because I have seen them do amazing things this year. But I do think it gives Arkansas State even more confidence.
And the notion of that belief has been so critical for the Red Wolves in the second half of the season, something that Justin Kostick talked about was a great point of emphasis for his team to try to close out. You referenced earlier the affirmations, and that was the message going into this weekend. Hey, let's remind ourselves of what we're capable of and what we can do, affirm ourselves coming into the match, and then take care of business. 50-pin advantage and win for Arkansas State in Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead in this championship match against Jack State, just one game away from a title. Champs, Vanderbilt winning it a couple of times. McKendree also a two-time champ as well. And this is what happened in between the games during the break. Faith Welch getting worked on with a trainer and working out that upper right arm in between. And that's something that they've kind of kept an eye on. She may be nursing a little something, we were told beforehand. And now this could be the deciding factor for Arkansas State as Emma Stoll gets the party going first, her fourth consecutive strike.
Fourth consecutive strike, knows where to play on both lanes. Starts the team out to start.
Great start back the other way with Isabel Allen getting it to roll down.
Hits light, but rolls out the bucket. We'll see if Arkansas State can answer.
Fourth championship appearance for the program. Third time making it to the finals in the last 4 years. Tough 7-10, and that pin wouldn't kick it over. So the 7-10 split, any bowler's nightmare.
Great shot, just comes in a little light. You thought you were going to get the push there on the 10 pin. Leaving the 7-10, she'll go for 1.
Miranda Pattison, we'll see if the Gamecocks can make the adjustment as nice slide there at the end. So starting off with back-to-back strikes here in Game 6.
Coming in just a little high, trips the 4-9. Two great frames on that right lane, getting the breaks.
To go for the 10 pin. Well, coming your way, the series finale between West Coast rivals is up tomorrow on Sunday Night Baseball as the Padres head to LA to meet the Dodgers at 7 p.m. on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 with baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. All eyes here on Thunderbolt Lanes as the crowd intently watches and looks on as Maddie Tomer. First strike for the Red Wolves here in frame 3.
This is definitely her lane. She is going to set up the next bowler. They need to put them together because Jack State is going nowhere.
Even 5 and 5 on strikes and spares, and how about half a dozen strikes in this match for the National Player of the Year, Rebecca Hagerman.
They are not going away yet. No way, no how. This is what Jack State does. They rise to the occasion. You need to put pressure on them, as well as Arkansas State, which you could see through some of their battles going 3-1. I mean, just two gritty teams out there.
And you wanted to see how the teams were going to respond. For Arkansas State, they find themselves in a favorable position because they played this left lane well. But here, when you look up trying to pick up this spare for Ark State, you're hoping to do so because Jacksonville State is rolling right now.
Absolutely, and you can't count anybody out. It doesn't matter. But that right lane did seem to give everybody a little bit of trouble. Both teams now have adapted. I'm sure Arkansas, we saw earlier during the break, both teams were having meetings. I'm sure they were discussing strategy. They were lined up on this left lane, just a couple of bad shots. They pay full penalty on the 7-10 and the 2-4-10. They need to rally because obviously Jack State front four.
The anchor bowlers are up for both programs in this best of 7 series Baker format. Brooke Buchanan. That's pocket well. And good response there from the graduate student. I always wondered, while huddling up, what are they talking about?
Talking about a lot of things. Sometimes there's no talking. Sometimes it's just a huddle. Sometimes I know they just look at their feet. But right now, I would say, you know, it's a little of that motivation, maybe one of their affirmations that they were talking about. 5 big frames to go. It is not over until the 10th frame.
You barely heard that ball put down.
The whole place was silent as well. Coming in just a little light, made the adjustment on this lane, has moved deeper, getting it out to the right. Probably got that one a little further right than she wanted to. I think she tried to move everything in. Also, she's been nice and soft with it up the back of it. On the left lane, I think she just tried to get around it a little bit. That was a good shot. Just maybe not get it just as far right down the lane. She'll be fine.
Well, Crystal Elliott, who leads the nation in singles spare percentage at better than 96%. And true to form, is able to pick it up, converts. And Jacksonville State trying to answer here in Game 6. They're up big. Let's take a break. Momentum if you're a Jack State fan trying to work their way back into this and push it to Game 7 here in this 2024 National Collegiate Bowling Championship. Nice kick there at the end. Stoll is fired up along with her teammates after that.
Double to start the second half.
Isabel Allen, the senior, who's played the lanes well this week, but throws more on a straight ball and gets the nice little rollover at the end.
She likes to go right to left, kind of get on the side of that one a little bit. Didn't get out of it as clean as she normally does, but she got a break, leaves the 2-pin.
Allen, who will get her degree in integrated studies this fall, this spring rather.
We'll have some dead wood there we have to have removed. Jacksonville does use their strike shot, or their strike ball, I should say, to shoot some of their spares, like a 2-pin, the bucket. So again, that's something just to learn, whatever you're comfortable with. I personally choose a spare ball over it, throw straight at it.
It's bowler's preference, and they've had success in coming in on that left side for Faith Welch, and you can see her reaction after she throws it.
Definitely not happy with that shot. Just missed left, got over the top of it just a little bit. You know, at this point, especially for Arkansas, not saying that Jack State doesn't feel some nerves, but, you know, they're on the lane where they can win it. So it's probably a little bit of a different feel. Obviously, you're thinking, okay, 10 more frames, and we've got this. So you have to remember, nerves might be trying just a little bit harder. You got to go back to what got you there. Take the deep breaths. Know that you have practiced and you know what to do. You need to just let your body take over.
.44-pin advantage for Jacksonville State. Miranda Pattison on the roll. Good shot. She'll have to work with the 10-pin.
Looks like she moved a couple left on that shot. Another perfect shot for her. Ring 10.
Nice work by Welch on the spare. We said coming in, this Jacksonville State team looks very much like the 2022 McKendree National Championship team. 6 players transferred over with Coach Shannon O'Keefe and her husband Brian to begin anew at Jacksonville State. The program had announced that they would have bowling at the beginning of January 2023. They hired O'Keefe in May of that year. And now an opportunity to bring home potentially the first national championship for the university since 1992. Toma was absolutely outstanding right there. 4th consecutive strike for Toma.
Can't wait for when Maggie Toma anchors this team.
Such a bright future for both of these squads. A lot of work to do in terms of replacement, because how do you replace a player like Rebecca Hagerman? The National Player of the Year. She's working on her master's in integrated studies, so a number of players who will transition and exit out of this program. The max score you see there for Jacksonville State, 257, 214 for Arkansas State. Can't talk enough about Carly Van Dyne and then just the job that she has done tonight. And now she says, I'll raise you. What you gonna do, Kayla Smith? Saw Smith go to her knees after that one. She wanted it.
Still throwing great shots. Has hit the pocket. I think she's hit the pocket every shot, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even remember the first game. But in the last 2 games, I know she has. Right here, just gets it a little inside. Leaves the flat 7. Still a good shot.
And opting for that spare ball, like you mentioned. A little pat there for good luck from the teammates. Got to put some good juju on that.
We got the whole thing going there.
She turned around, knew it immediately when it left her hands. Boy, I tell you, the amount of time, practice it takes to be able to execute shots like that. We take it for granted sometimes when you're watching, but there are hours upon hours put in to try to perfect their craft and improve their skill.
Yes, the game has definitely become much more athletic. Most of these universities, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them have trainers. So they have workouts during the week besides their study, besides study hall, besides tutors, besides eating, sleeping, and actually going to class. It is a full day at school. Even though college is like the best time of your life, it's still a long days, long weeks.
Jacksonville State just puts an exclamation point on this game 6. 8 strikes tonight for the anchor bowler for the Gamecocks, Crystal Elliott.
She definitely made the move. She's a little bit deeper, back to being up the back of it just a little bit to smooth out that reaction. And right here, great spare. And honestly, you know what? It's a big spare. You know why? Because she can move, change balls, do whatever she needs to do. Because I'm going to assume that Jack State will choose to stay on this right lane.
You see the intensity and the focus there from Crystal Elliott, and it produces results like that.
She will be getting ready to go out on the PWBA tour after she graduates.
The adjustment made.
Adjustment made, definitely moved deeper. Perfect. That's in both of these teams' wheelhouse. Arkansas State usually gets a little deeper quicker, but they have kept up the transition. I am shocked they just shot 190 because that lane was very good for them, but it'll be interesting, and it went 7.
Right. Can't wait to see what's going to happen for Game 7. It's a great championship match here. 3 in a row, turkey for Crystal Elliott. And the extra oomph needed for Jack State to come back in this one. 3 apiece here from Allen Park, Michigan. Hey, a national champion's going to be crowned after the next 10 frames. You'll want to come back with us to see who it is. Championship trophy, Arkansas State and Jacksonville State. We head to Game 7 of this championship match. Arkansas State has had some tries before. They've come up short each time, but they hope this time around will fall in their favor. Meanwhile, first year, first time for Jacksonville State. They elect to remain on the right lane, and we start off with strikes on both sides.
Interesting stat, they've met 3 times going to the 7th game during the season. They're both 1-1. I don't know. What do you think? Coin toss. It's all even right now.
Well, you said it would come down to the right lane.
I did.
And the idea that Jacksonville State is staying on the right lane feels like, or they feel like they figured something out and feeling good there. Will this one kick it over? Yes!
Almost leaves the 7-10 again, gets rid of the 7, a roll into the 10. That is a break right there.
Huge break for Faith Welch and the Red Wolves, and the reaction afterward, hoping, wishing, and yes. Patterson in the 2 spot. The roll from Miranda. Talked about how well she's hit the pocket here tonight.
I love that setup 1 and 2 with her and changing the lineup. Sometimes you just have to do that to give a feel, change the chemistry up a little bit. But Miranda and Izzy can go back and forth, as they call her Izzy. So sorry, I haven't called her that all night. But I like when they switch 1 and 2. It just gives a little bit of a different vibe. You get a different read on the lane. Again, Not one is better than the other, but Izzy likes the read right to left. Miranda likes the read a little more left to right. Perfect combination.
Picks up the spare, and you saw just in the foreground of that last shot, there's the championship trophy sitting right there. So, I mean, you have a clear view of what you are battling for. It's it.
Gets this ball way left to target. You could see her reaction.
Almost dead on that one pin.
Gets a break, leaves it 3-6-10. Oh, great shot by Rebecca. Stone 9. Great shot. As you can see, everyone on both lanes now has migrated a little left of the track, still getting it out to that 8-9.
And leaving that one in an open frame for Maggie Toma. And you hope, if you're a Red Wolves fan, that doesn't come back to bite them.
Slides by the 3-6-10, just taking off the 6-10.
Closing that one up is Hagerman. Now Van Dynen, Carly Van Dynen, out of New Era, Michigan. Release and in there!
Taking that light hit. 10th strike tonight. Wow. Been rock solid. Sets the team back up. It's never over. You just got to get bounced. What they say, 5-second rule, right?
That's right.
5-second rule. You can think about it all you want for 5 seconds.
Quick opportunity to let you know that ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship begins on Thursday, April 18th at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN2. For more information, go to ncaa.com, the online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Kayla Smith, who has really worked on her game, put in the time over the winter break, and just has that desire to be great and wants to move on to the tour after her college career is done. Big reason for their run. You mentioned earlier, Carolyn. A nice get there.
One of the great things I liked that Shannon said about her too was when she committed to changing her game and knowing she needed to make things different. She came in for extra practices. Now she's like the last to leave practice, and so is Danielle, the two-hander. She's learning how to. I mean, it's pretty cool to see, and both teams have that. Every team has it, actually.
Buchanan again. These really tough splits and spares for Arkansas State to have to pick up.
And it's interesting, too, because Arkansas State usually likes to use their speed to their advantage, and right now that looked a little soft. It looked in and a little soft. I don't know if they're afraid that it's going to shoot through it, but right now, I know, again, nerves are setting in, but you got to do what you do best, and they have good ball speed. They need to use that to their advantage, especially as the lanes are breaking down.
Well, understanding that you only have so many frames to bowl remaining. How much does that get in your head as a player?
Well, you're probably telling yourself, I only get 2 shots. I better not screw that up. But you have to go back to your mental training. And again, both of these teams love to play in. They follow transition. We saw that Arkansas State got the lead on them, to close out this match. You can never count Jack State out, ever.
So Jacksonville State with the advantage here halfway through Game 7. Come back. 2 seeds duking it out for a national championship. It's 3-3 right now. Halfway through the frames, and Emma Stoll, the leadoff.
She has been rock solid, yes.
Yeah.
Emma Stoll has been absolutely rock solid. Love her game. And again, great person to watch. Yes, we talk about referee. Yes, we talk about axis rotation. We talk about all these great things. But traditional to the line, just gets it off her hand, repeats. Excellent. As well as Izzy.
So much like we started the first half, the leadoff bowlers with strikes, and now Faith Welch stepping up. Remember, we saw her get some attention from the trainer for that right arm. Pulled a strike back in the second. And gets 9 here.
Great shot. After that 7-10, she got the break. Kicking out the 7-10 again. Leaving a flat 10.
Just felt like one great continuous motion. You saw her take that deep breath through in rhythm and got the strike.
Another one, basic traditional game. Unbelievable how solid both teams are. The athleticism has increased over the years. It's unbelievable the training that these ladies go through to be able to compete at the highest level.
And they are certainly putting on a fabulous show here tonight. Fantastic student athletes. Rebecca Hagerman embodies that so well. Numerous recognitions as a scholar athlete, NCAA Elite 90 Award 2 times over. Maggie Toma. Readies herself, stands in. And the approach, the shot. Yes.
Much better shot.
Check out the sophomore from the San Antonio area. Just go to work right there. That's what Shannon O'Keefe said of her first-team All-American. Confident and embodies what this program is all about and what they want it to be.
100%. Also, the bowling balls don't have to always be high flush. And I try to tell people this all the time. You throw it good, you repeat, you hit the pocket, you give yourself the best chance to strike. And they're proving it right here.
Great answer back from Carly Van Dynen. Van Dynen, the second-team All-American, showing great moxie here for the Red Wolves. All right, that's going to do it. Jacksonville State, all they got to do is stay clean. They needed that one big time, and who delivered for them was Kayla Smith. Team leader. We talked about her great run here in the postseason.
After those first few frames, Arkansas definitely made the adjustments. Pins just didn't, fall their way. It happens. Again, they will be in this championship match again. I'm sure we will see both of these teams. Here, I can go out on a limb and say that.
The debut season for Shannon O'Keefe and the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. And what an amazing year it is. Anna Workle right there, and Danielle Henderson showing just the emotion. That's part of the future of the program. Workle, just a junior, a freshman in Danielle Henderson. So they'll have some young pieces coming back. Raise of the hands from Crystal Elliott. And all Justin Costa can do is look on another valiant effort from this Arkansas State group. You talked about how they have met in a number of these scenarios already this season. But here on the biggest stage, it's the top-seeded team in the tournament, #1 overall in the nation in Jacksonville State. Who's going to take home the hardware? And you see Anna Workle getting ready to throw one, another one of those transfers who came over with the O'Keefes from McKendree. With the substitution, why not? They say she's the fire of the team, and Anna Workle sparks major flames.
She is
that role.
And let me tell you, Anna's one of my favorite players, and I said to her when I watched her bowl, Junior Bowl, a year ago, I said to her, I can't believe how good you're throwing it right now. So proud of her hard work.
So the final ball will be thrown by Kayla Karuvabias. Let me get her name right. Covarrubias. There we go, Kayla Covarrubias. It's reading too fast. A junior out of Mexico City, Mexico. The incredible story and journey ends with the hoist of the 2024 NCAA Bowling Championship trophy. Jacksonville State claims it in their inaugural season. Congratulations to the Gamecocks. First championship in program history since 1992. A valiant effort put up by Arkansas State. They come up short in this one as Jacksonville State celebrates, huddles up, fresh off of that national championship